Alright everyone, we're back out for another week. Hopefully you can hear me over that backhoe. I don't want to shut it off because it's having trouble getting started again. But today I am going to be working on getting the trenches for the water and electric. And like I said, the water and electric will come in right underneath the door. So it will come across the yard here around this old well house, and then the power pole is right there, and then as we keep going around, the new well house is right there. So the plan would be to dig a trench from the well house coming this way toward the house, and then another one from the power pole over there, bring it in, and they'll meet up somewhere around over here and then tie in and go there. But before I can do any of that, hopefully this machine doesn't get too loud over here, but I have all that mess that I threw out here from those walls in the bathroom and stuff, so I'm going to try to use that backhoe and drag that stuff out of my way. Alright, well, there it is. That one is for electric. That one is for water. They meet up over there and they go in under the door. So I'll have a little bit of hand digging that I have to do up close to the post here, over by the well house, that kind of thing. But got most of it ready for pipe and wire to go in, so hopefully in a couple of days I'll be getting that going. So now I get to drive that machine back over to my mom and dad's. I'm thankful that my dad has that old backhoe. That way I don't have to rent something or hire someone to do it. But they live about 3 miles from here, and I just drove it over here, so it takes a little while, but it's alright. It's quicker to drive it than it would be to load it up and then pull it over here on a trailer and unload it. So there's some places you can't get a backhoe, and in that case you need a groundhog. So I found me a groundhog, and he's digging out a hole here to connect to the outside so we can feed the wire and pipe through there. I titled the last video Plumbing the Stairs, which kind of sounds crazy, but it actually should have been this video. So down there on the floor, just to the right of those pipes coming through the floor, there's a mark where the old wall used to be, but I'm going to check it out and see how close that mark is. Now the problem is that I need a plumb bob to check this out, but I don't have one with me. So instead of using a plumb bob, I'm just going to use a chalk line, because it kind of does the same thing, and it kind of has a point down here. I think it'll get me close enough to see how accurate this old wall was, and we will get this thing plumb. Oh my, it was way off. it's actually going to be okay. So I was not thinking correctly, because where this is, I'm going to go ahead and make a mark right in the middle of that. So that's the inside of the wall, and this is the outside of the wall. So it's not too far off, actually. It's, whoops. So that's about 4¼ inches. And our wall will be framed at 3½. So it's actually not too bad. So I'm just going to go with this one, and that'll move this over just a hair. And that will make sure that that wall for those stairs is plumb. So we're all good. All right, now for some good old high school geometry. So we need to make this wall square to this wall. And in order to do that, we go back to our old Pythagorean theorem. So I've got a mark over here, 6 foot off of that wall. And then I have an 8-foot board. So this angle, when this angle reaches 10 feet across here, this wall will be squared. So let's see what we can do here. All right, 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot. So this wall is square with that wall. I'm going to mark it here, and then I'll snap a chalk line, because this wall is actually going to come all the way out to the edge of that plywood. All right, so just like I did the subfloor with the glue and the ring shank nails, I'll do the same thing with the stairs, except I'm going to use screws instead of nails, because no one likes squeaky stairs. So we'll put a little bit of glue across the stringers and then screw them in. I start at the bottom. I already attached this stringer in place, and pay no attention to my chalk line where I marked the wrong spot. But so that one is in place, and then I'll start with my bottom tread here, which will lock the bottoms of these in place, and then as I work my way up, I can move these in line with the first one. So we're a long way off from actually needing insulation in here, but we had it, and it needed done before we get a bunch of dirt and junk in the sides of there. So Evan's learning how to insulate around windows, and if you'll notice, we're using one that is made for windows and doors. If you just use regular spray foam, it swells up too much and you can actually cause your windows to bind. So you want to use that stuff in that blue can that's made for it. It's a low expansion, so it doesn't push too hard on your windows, because you can imagine right here, if you had foam that was pushing really hard this way, it would bind on that window and make it hard to slide up and down. So you also want to be careful not to overfill that. You can just fill it up about halfway. I'll show you over here where he's just now doing it. But that stuff will, over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes, we'll go ahead and fill on in those cracks. There's a real tight crack at the bottom, so it kind of got overfilled, but we'll come back with a knife later after that dries and cut that off, and it'll be ready for trim work whenever we get to that point. All right, this morning we are going to lay our power cable in this trench. Come around here and then go into the house where Evan dug under the foundation. And then once we get inside, I have a rope that we've ran up under the stairs, and we'll tie onto that. One of us will feed the wire in, the other one will be pulling the rope and get it to come out up underneath the stairs over there with all those water pipes. Alright, Evan's getting started tearing out the upstairs. Getting all that cardboard and foam took off the walls, and then he'll be working on boards and get this thing opened up. It'd be nice to get some of these wall boards off and maybe let some air flow through up here while we're working. Well, alright, that wraps up another week, and as I mentioned in the last video, we were going to get quite a bit of change done in this house this week. So you can see behind me there that all the subfloor is done. All the plumbing is done over there in the corner. We've got quite a mess around here. We've been tearing things out upstairs, so I will go up there and I'll show you what we've got going. So here is the upstairs. All the walls are tore out, all the insides of the dormers are tore out. So the only thing that we have left, besides cleaning up all the boards, this is part of them. We threw a bunch of them out already, but so we got to get all this cleaned up, and then we'll start next week tearing the floor out. And the exciting thing is that it's been in the 90s, upper 90s actually, for the last several weeks, and it's hot up here. Obviously, no insulation. We have shingles on the roof that are just catching heat and dumping it through these through that plywood into the house. And we have those little bitty goofy windows that don't really give us any breeze. And some days we haven't had a breeze. But next week, all week, the highs are in the 70s. So it'll be great for working up here, getting this tore out the rest of the way, and then start fixing and replacing the joists to get everything leveled out and ready for subfloor up here, which there's no plumbing or anything up here, so subfloor up here should go pretty quick once we get all of the joists fixed. And so really up here there's not just a ton of stuff to do. Getting the flooring down. We'll probably go ahead and get rid of these kind of goofy looking studs that are here. And actually, they're not even doing anything. They're hanging from the rafters. And so, I've mentioned the way they built these houses, that you've got all these interior boards everywhere. So everything about this house really is made structural. It's not necessarily the intent, but that's the way it works. You've got basically a solid mass of wood. And so if they didn't frame things perfectly, it's not a huge deal, because they have all these interior boards that just take the place of the structure. So it's really blown me away, some of the things that I've torn down in this house. I'm going to go back downstairs because it's hot up here. But it's really blown me away, some of the things I've torn out in this house, and then wonder what's holding it up. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, we had this wall here. The center wall is holding the whole upstairs up, except that several days ago, or a couple weeks ago, we had from that stud there all the way over here, there was nothing, and all of these joists were just kind of floating up there. And but the reason was that all of the walls were still up there, so it acted as a big truss almost. It was just spanning the load across there. So it's just really interesting how they built these old things. They were really strong. So as always, appreciate you watching, and hope you'll continue to watch. I enjoy reading comments and those kind of things, even the mean ones. I've had a few mean ones, and I just get a good laugh out of them, so that's okay. Speaking of comments, I'm going to do a giveaway. And to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment. Now, you may be wondering, what are you giving away? Well, I got these new hats, and I have one here. It's black and white, and it has my logo on it. And I'm going to give it away to one of you guys. And all you have to do is leave a comment on this video. Now, I would prefer it to be a kind comment. I don't think I want to give a hat away to somebody who's mean to me, but maybe I would. Anyway, so leave a comment. You don't have to share this video or anything like that. It would be nice if you would. I would appreciate it, but you don't have to. Just leave a comment, and then in 2 weeks I will announce the winner, and I am just going to do a random comment generator. And so we'll pick a random comment, and I'll announce the winner, and then we'll figure out how to get connected and get you your hat. So as always, I appreciate everyone watching. I hope you'll continue to watch. You better be watching in 2 weeks if you leave a comment on this video, or you're going to miss out on winning your hat. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.